Hi, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan, he's a Corgi, and we're here for an Earth Day celebration of Conversations with a Corgi. And I can remember when I was a little kid, I was in 7th grade, when the first Earth Day was declared. And it didn't really spread and take off till I was in high school a couple years later. But the first Earth Day was on April 22nd in 1970. And it was started by Senator Gaylord Nelson in Wisconsin. He found that the environment was such an important issue and was not really looked at in politics and media. And so he wanted to bring awareness to the earth. So he started Earth Day. And early on, 20 million people nationwide celebrated that first Earth Day, which is very exciting considering it was the first time that they had it. Earth Day has been associated with the ecology flag, and now it is celebrated worldwide, and lots of events are held to celebrate environmental protection. There's lots of protests, there's lots of marches, and there's lots of things like planting trees, and hiking groups get together, dog walking hiking groups get together as well. And Earth Day is a wonderful, important thing in my life. I still remember when Rachel Carson wrote Silent Spring, and where I grew up in South Jersey with a lot of farmland, it was a very toxic environment. And so I saw dead things all over the place, just like Rachel portrayed in her wonderful book. And it was devastating. And I got crop dusted several times when I was out riding my horse or working at the camp where I was, because people weren't aware that DDT and the things they used in crop dusting were toxic. So that was an important thing for me when Earth Day began, because I have always been an environmentalist. In fact, my major in college was natural science and communications, and I thought I might be a writer like Rachel Carson and write about the earth and the environment, as well as horses and dogs and other animals. And I, in fact, had won a speech contest in 4-H in high school and did a nationwide talk about wolves all over the place as part of a showcase of the winners of the speech contest. And so early on in my life, I was an environmentalist. And now I live on this wonderful 7 acres that is so rich with wildlife. I have, there's a commercial about getting back into the forest, and all the animals they talk about: bald eagles, moose, deer, bobcats, bears, beavers, I have in my yard, in my little 7 acres, because I have a beaver dam and a bunch of beaver lodges around here. And beavers create an area almost as dense as the rainforest with ecological life. So there's lots of things that love to live near the area that's ruled by beavers. So I'm really lucky. And Earth Day really began as a way to celebrate and promote environmental protection. But now it's a global thing celebrated in 193 countries. And each year there's a bit of a theme on Earth Day to try to get us motivated around one particular issue. Last year it was climate literacy, so that people would understand. And I see this with the other work I do, talking about things like climate change and global warming. They actually mean 2 different things. And it's really, we should be really clear about what that is. Climate change can be any change in even a microclimate. For instance, in a forest or a rainforest, if you are cutting down trees or changing the ecology in the area, like if this beaver dam area started to dry up, it would make a huge change. So that's climate change. Global warming really is a phenomenon about the whole planet getting warmer, and that's why we are having this winter that won't end, falls that last forever, strangely long breaks in the winter with warmer weather. I'm not sure how I feel about all of that, but it is not necessarily typical. So people celebrate Earth Day in a bunch of different ways, and one of my favorite ways is to take a walk outside with my dog. and spend some time outside. And it's a beautiful, beautiful day today. A little bit cold, so I'm still wearing sweaters and turtlenecks, but it is sunny and pleasant. And when I was sitting on my deck yesterday, well, actually it's a patio, I could have been in shorts as long as that sunlight was coming down on me, and it was really pleasant. But it certainly is still not warmer than 55 or so here. So I'm very happy that it is warmer, but it should be even warmer. Kids do lots of different things for Earth Day. I remember participating in a poster contest in high school. Actually, maybe I was only a freshman or a sophomore in high school, so Earth Day had only been around a couple of years, and I was devastated because my poster didn't win. It was second place, but I used the idea for that poster to do lots of other things. It was a little merry-go-round, and it said something like, don't go around in circles, clean up, or something like that. And at the time, this was a pretty common theme, the give a hoot, don't pollute. So a girl had drawn an owl, and that one won. And this has stuck with me for 50 years, so it was significant. Some of the things you can do with kids is clean up, walk down your street and pick up whatever stuff is around, including cigarette butts, and dispose of it properly. A lot of people like to read the Lorax because that is about trees. Some people like to have a day of eating all local organic foods and share with the kids what that's about. And you know, you can do really fun things with local food. We have around here certainly a lot of winter vegetables, squash, Brussels sprouts, that have been grown here locally in greenhouses and at some of the different little local farms that we can still get. So that's a great thing to do. And certainly cleaning up. And one of the things I noticed when I was in Hawaii, a couple walked every morning down the beach in Maui with a big plastic trash bag. And I was near one end of the beach and they started down at the other end. And every morning they picked up a bag full of trash off of that beach in Maui. And, you know, it's a really popular place. People go there for picnics and they have their kids running around. They might lose a paper plate or something. But it was remarkable to me to see that a beach that was that clean and that beautiful really largely owed its beauty to these two people that picked up trash. And certainly in the summer, I see plenty of people in Provincetown walking around picking up trash on their morning walks. And, you know, people should, of course, with pets, be responsible about cleaning up their pet waste, because a lot of beaches in New England and the Mid-Atlantic have been polluted by too much pet waste. So it's really important that you clean up after your dog. And in fact, even when you're walking in the forest, you should clean up after your dog, because it just adds more things to a fragile environment that it is not necessarily meant to cope with, like tons of dog poop. So those are some of the fun things you can do on Earth Day. I like to just spend some time outside with my dog. Around here, it's almost warm enough that you can plant some spring bulbs or start to work in the garden a little bit, spread some mulch around, do a little cleanup. Things aren't actually growing here yet, but the grass is getting greener and greener because we're having more and more rain, but it hasn't really started to grow. But one of the things you can do is work in your own yard and just clean up what's in your own area. I took a couple of bags of trash off of the 7 acres of road front I have here, and I'm really sad because somebody dumped like a lot of trash down by where the Beaver Lodge is, up the street from me a little way, and it's on my property. And it's like a 6-pack of beer and a bunch of soda stuff and a lot of like fast food wrappers, but it's down in the raspberry canes, and it's ticky and not yet snaky, but it's a little intimidating to go down in there, and I just don't know if I can do it. I might try to get a hazmat suit on today and go down there and try to clean that up, because if I don't pick it up, nobody else will, and it will be there for eternity. Because whoever, you know, this road is kind of rural. A lot of high school kids that aren't supposed to be drinking come here and drink and throw their stuff out of their car right by the side of the road, up this street and up the other street. So, you know, it would be a nice thing for me to do for Earth Day, to go down there and try to pick that up. Certainly without my dog with me, because the ticks would be a situation. I mean, even though it is cold, it only has to be above 30 degrees for like a half an hour for ticks to get active. So That's a real concern here, where Lyme disease and anaplasmosis is pretty darn common. So some of the other things you might do on Earth Day is come up with a plan to do more recycling in your house, maybe start compost, look at ways that you can cut down on the amount of environmental waste that you create personally. I've done this year after year, and really I'm only one person, and I do eat organic food, and I pretty much make everything myself. So I'm not buying processed food. So I have a lot of recycling, but I don't have many bags of trash, maybe one small bag a month. And that's mostly the styrofoam that Tristan's organic turkey comes in. And I think it's actually pressed cardboard. I don't think it's styrofoam, because that's not very commonly used anymore, certainly around this area. But, just picking up plastic water bottles that people leave along the trails or at the beach can be a huge help. And people that live, like my friend Amy is watching, in a desert environment, that's another fragile environment. All that pollution that you leave, cigarette butts even, can really throw that environment out of balance. So Earth Day is a great day to go clean up where you live. And anybody that lives, in any neighborhood could have people dropping stuff around their yard. So it's a great thing to do for Earth Day. You can celebrate with your dog outside, eat some organic local food, give your dog some organic local food, and really just be grateful for the earth. It gives us so much, and it has so many built-in ways to keep clean and to recycle. Isn't it a miracle that trees produce oxygen and use carbon dioxide, and us and all the other mammals use oxygen and spit out carbon dioxide? Talk about symbiotic. How lucky are we that plants do this for us and clean our air? One of the other things you could do for Earth Day is bring in a new houseplant. Houseplants clean the air in your home. They say that the air in our homes is a bazillion times worse than the air outside of our homes, and houseplants can really clean the air. I don't have cats, and certainly my dog doesn't eat my plants, so I have a lot of spider plants because, A, my grandmother gave them to me 40 years ago, and my dog doesn't eat them, and they are one of the best plants at keeping your air clean. And if you're not a very good plant person, get a snake plant. They clean the air. They don't require much care. In fact, a lot of them died from overwatering. So bringing a houseplant indoors can also be a nice thing to do on Earth Day, to bring nature to you and to connect you to the outside. And spend some time outside today and clean up the trash that you find in your environment. So that's our word about Earth Day. Tomorrow I will be working as an educator, so we will be back on, I think, Wednesday. We're also working at our other place on Tuesday as well. So we'll be back on Wednesday for another episode of Conversations with a Corgi. Everybody have a great Earth Day. Celebrate with your pets. Put up a bird feeder. Well, actually, if you live in New England, you're taking them down because the bears are waking up. But you can put out some things to attract birds, mirrors and things. Keep your kitties happy. Keep them indoors. Cats kill hundreds of thousands of songbirds. So put bells on your cat. That's a good thing to do for Earth Day. Keep those birds safe. You can also choose to buy a water filter pitcher and stop using plastic water bottles. That's a great way to celebrate Earth Day and also detox yourself from all of the carcinogens that are in our many plastic water bottles. So we'll see you on Wednesday. Everybody enjoy today. Have a great couple of days. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon.